Hi guys, so today we're going to do foundation and makeup basics. And I'm going to split this video into a few different segments so you don't have to sit through the whole thing. Okay, so I've already got my face washed, my hands clean. We're going to start off with moisturizer. You have to moisturize your face or else it's not going to hold your product correctly, and you only need about a pea-size amount. So we're going to tap this in. Avoid rubbing as much as possible because that can make your skin red. You just want to smooth it on. And then your primer. This stuff is awesome. Not just because I sell it, because it actually works. And again, about a pea-size amount. Just tap that in. Primer is going to help be the layer between your skin and your makeup. So it smooths over fine lines and enlarged pores, and it's just going to help everything sit better on your skin and not settle in and start to look cakey throughout the day. That's what primer is for. It also helps keep it on longer. Your whole look will stay better. So then we're going to get our dampened sponge. I like the either Real Techniques, the orange one that looks like this, and this is the brand new Studio 35 Sponge Soiree set. And what you do is you run it under the water and you wring it out so it's still a little damp, but it's not going to be drippy wet. That'll keep the product more on top instead of sinking in. So then we're going to get our foundation. I'm going to be using this one. This one is the medium coverage, so we're not going to go cakey and we're not going to go super light. It's going to be right there in the middle. Then you take your little damp sponge and tap it in, distribute it, and if you smooth it on like this, it'll go on perfectly medium coverage. And then in some spots, if you have an area that you need to cover a little bit more, you can tap it like this, and that'll give you just a teeny tiny little bitty bit more coverage. I usually start out doing my foundation first and then eyes, but if you are new to doing really dramatic eye looks, I would suggest starting out doing your eyes first. That way, if you have fallout from your eyeshadow or you mess up your eyeliner or something, you can easily just wipe it away without wiping your foundation away too. And yes, we do foundation first and then concealer. If you do concealer first, your foundation will dilute it and kind of wipe it away. I usually do foundation and concealer on my eyelids too, so you have something for your eyeshadow to stick to. And it also gives more even color if you've got like veins and stuff that show through your super thin eyelids, which is normal. Alright, then we are going to get our concealer, and depending on how pale you are, they also make, Kat Von D makes a pure white concealer, and you can mix it in with your regular concealer, but I'm just going to use this one for now. So concealer is your base highlight. So it's going to go anywhere that you want to look a little bit lighter, a little bit brighter. Always do under your eyes so they look healthier, not as tired, a little bit brighter. You look younger, more awake. So we're just going to pat this in right under the eye area, and you can use your sponge, but sometimes I feel like that leaves a sponge looking texture. So I will usually use my finger, and it has a skin texture. And you never want to do just right there under the eye where your bags are, because that'll just draw more attention to it. You want to do a triangular shape right down here and bring it back a little bit. So if you can see the difference there a little bit, it'll keep getting better, don't worry. And you guys are more than welcome to email me and ask specific questions, but I'm just kind of doing a basic starter tutorial for those of you who are unfamiliar with some of the easier ways to start doing your makeup. Alright, and then we're going to do right here, because this is going to be the forefront, obviously, of your face, where light naturally hits. So we're going to make that a little bit more defined. And that just gives your face a little bit more shape to it. It brings out some of your nicer features. And there are different ways to highlight and contour different face shapes. You just kind of have to look for it online and see what works best for you, or just play with it. But there are some basics. Now, if you have a larger chin, then you're not going to highlight your chin. You're probably going to put a little bit of a darker foundation on your chin to make it recede a little bit. If you have a larger forehead, same thing. You're going to put a little bit of a darker foundation on just your forehead to help it recede a little bit. Okay, so we've got our foundation and concealer on, and then we're going to go with the contour. So this part is where a lot of people get hesitant or intimidated to start, but it's really easy to just do basic stuff. You don't need to do Kim Kardashian look, just your basics. So I have a stick concealer, or not concealer, I have a stick contour here. It's a little bit warm for my skin tone, so I'm going to keep looking for a little bit cooler tones, but it's a good one to start with. This is like $3. So then you're also going to get a concealer brush here, so we have a really controlled application. Just get a little bit on there. And the trick with contour is you go from the top of your ear towards your mouth, and you can feel where your cheekbone is. And the point is to make a shadow under your cheekbone so your cheeks look a little bit more defined instead of round. So we're going to go right along here, and you don't go down very far. You're not going to go all the way to your cheek. And same on the other side. Just angle it towards your mouth, and a little bit along the edges. And then here's where we blend it. I've got a EcoTools, what kind is this? Not EcoTools, this is Real Techniques, sorry. So then you're gonna just go back and forth and blend it in and try and help define that cheekbone area. And that you can just pull towards the hairline to blend in. And you can always start out with a little and add more if you think it's not too defined or you want a little bit more drama. I do this every day, so mine's usually pretty light. If you feel like it goes too far down on your cheek, all you have to do is get a little bit of a stick concealer and run it right along and blend it in. So we've got a little bit of color, a little bit more definition, and then we do the cream blush. And a great trick for cream blush is just to use a lipstick. This is a Revlon Color Balm, and I think it works great. So you just go right on top of that, just a few dots, and then you get your blush brush, just a little guy like that, and blend that in too. And everything is still very blendable since we haven't put any powder on. We've just got our cream products on. So there's that. Alright, and we can also do a strobing liquid. This is basically a liquid highlight that's not terribly impactful, but just gives a little bit of a glow. So you just need a tiny little dot, and you dot it on top of your cheekbones, and then just pat it in. And that helps highlight a little bit. All right, then we will set all of this when we're happy with the outcome with a translucent powder here. And the translucent powder really does work on all skin tones and skin types. I have tried it. And again, we're going to use this damp beauty blender and just pat it in right on top. And the point of using the damp beauty blender versus a powder brush is sometimes the powder brushes make it look a little too powdery, and this just blends it right in. And since it's translucent, it'll go right on top of your contour and your blush, and you can still see it. It's just softened a little bit. It looks really natural when you use the cream products. And if it's too natural and not bold enough for you, all you do is go on top of it after your setting powder. You just go on top of it with a powder contour or a powder blush, whatever you want to make stand out more. Alright, so there's a basic face, and we'll continue the brows and eyes in the next segment.